Alright, all you glorious gamers out there, welcome to the PlayersToo Podcast, the video game podcast for gamers like you, by gamers like you. You can find PlayersToo on all the social media, that's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, the lot. You can also find our written content over at playerstoo.com, that's PLAYERSTOO.com. And if you could take 5 seconds to give us 5 stars over on Apple Podcast, that really helps us out. Again, it does a huge amount for the exposure of the show, and it really helps us, and thank you so much to anyone that's already done that. It only takes you 5 seconds, and it really helps us out. Alright, and on with the show! My name is Mark Henderson. With me, as always, Mr. Lewis Camley. How's it going, Lewis?
It's going very well, Mark. How you doing?
Not bad at all. Quite tired, but that's just kind of par for the course,
life.
to be honest. Just life, yeah, just life beating you down. Anyway, what have you been playing?
I am back on my bullshit, my space bullshit this week. I've finally returned to...
Oh, this is great.
I finally returned to both the Outer Worlds and the Outer Wilds, which I was playing before I got started with Death Stranding. And
I like that, just abandon everything else. Hideo Kojima comes first.
I never even intended it. It just, it swallowed up my life. So yeah, but back playing both of those games. Outer Wilds was quite difficult to go back to, particularly because the ship flying mechanics are very difficult to get your head around. So I had a lot of terrible collisions with planets when I was trying to get back to grips with it. But still, just like having played it for hours, assumed I was fairly near the end and started just finding more and more discoveries and interesting little twists and turns in the story just within a few hours of playing it again. So really excited. I shouldn't take too much longer to get through that, I don't think, as long as I've got some time to play it ahead.
I would imagine just because of the exploration type play that game is, that it would be quite difficult to go back to and quite difficult to remember what you're supposed to be doing and where you're supposed to be going or where you've been.
Absolutely it is. And there is a really good in-game kind of computer screen that brings together all of your discoveries so far in quite an interesting sort of mind map style. So there's an element of returning to play it where you are essentially going through all the stages of the game again, but it's so much fun, really enjoying it. For the Outer Worlds, it's just more of the same for me at the moment. I've still not got too deep into the story. I'm not loving it yet the way that you've spoken about it, but I think that's more to do with just where I am in the game. It feels a little bit like a laundry list at the moment of just landing in places and doing all the quick bits, but I've not properly hit Monarch yet. That's the next thing, and I think that's where the game really starts to open up.
I would agree, actually. It does properly start opening up.
So that should be this weekend, basically. I'll get a lot of time to play it, I think, so that should be good. And just one other quick thing, because sort of I felt like a bit of a challenge last week when you mentioned my sort of so-called love for Apple Arcade, which I've barely touched. I thought I would try another...
That was not a challenge, man. That was not a
Everything's a challenge. Yeah, I jumped back onto that and picked up one of the other games that I've been looking forward to, which is Card of Darkness. And it's a game developed by a game designer called Zach Gage, who I don't know, but who I do know is the Adventure Time creator Pendleton Ward, who does all the art for this game. And it is just a lovely little strategic grid-based card game. You have to make decisions about the right way to cross from one side of your grid to the other, and each of the tiles or the cards, as they are in the game, all have little powers, and it does this really interesting thing as you progress where some of the cards have both positive and negative effects on you as you go, and you have to be strategic about in what order you click things. It's quite hard to explain beyond that, so I won't go much further with it, but a really fun, the perfect mobile game where you can just play a little level for 20 minutes, you get through it, you get the little endorphin boost, and then you turn it off and you go to sleep. So that's been my experience so far. What about yourself?
Well, Liz, I've been playing a little-known game called The Last of Us. The Last of Us has long been a black hole for me. Yeah, just a gap in my gaming knowledge. I was actually very excited to start playing it. I was slightly apprehensive going in because I was coming off Death Stranding, and I was thinking, oh god, is this just going to be quite heavy? After that was quite heavy, and it is, but kind of in a different way, in a way that I'm enjoying more, I guess.
Yeah.
It's, again, I know that this game is so old and it's widely regarded as one of the best games ever, and I think it's just won PlayStation's Game of the Decade, right? So me saying good game is good is totally redundant here.
But that is what you're saying.
But it is very, very good. It is actually blown my expectations, to be completely honest with you. So last year, I went to go back and play the first Red Dead game. Now, granted, I understand that wasn't a remaster, and the current version of The Last of Us that I'm playing is a remaster, but from what I understand, the differences between the remaster and The Last of Us and the original aren't all that massive apart from visual.
Yeah, well, it came out right at the end of that generation, so
well, there you go. But this game, I think, holds up so much more than Red Dead does. I just don't know if it's because kind of open worlds have moved beyond that and whatever, whereas fantastic storytelling basically doesn't age.
Yeah.
You know? One of the things that sort of surprised me about it is how good the gunplay is. I thought it was really, really excellent. And also, although it's a survival horror game, and as such, ammo is relatively scarce, but it's not crippling. I don't ever feel as if, I've got absolutely no ammo and I can't deal with this situation. I always feel as if I've got just enough, which is what I thought Resident Evil 2 Remake done. I always felt as if you had just enough ammo after you got in a fight. You were down to like scraps, but you got through it, when you had like just enough ammo to do that. And I feel as if The Last of Us is really nailing that as well. It's surprisingly fun to be in the gunfights as well. I thought that it would be, if it ever devolved into a gunfight and you fucked up, basically. And this only really happened to me just recently within the game. When it devolved into a big gunfight, like, you can kind of handle your shit. You know what I mean? It's not just like got into a gunfight, therefore I must run away and hide for
flee
20
or die.
minutes.
Yeah, absolutely,
It's been really good. It's been really good indeed. And the clickers are one of the best zombies in any game or piece of media ever. I think they are incredibly good. And the way that the game forces you to move very, very slowly, because I thought, so for those of you that don't know, which is basically no one apart from me before that I played this game, they can't see, so they detect you through your movement, and therefore that forces you to move very slowly. But what I thought was, I just crouch and then just run past, and then I can just like slowly go past them. No, you need to crawl so slowly, or else they just scream at you, and it's fairly terrifying.
Yeah, they are very horrifying when they notice you. Yeah, good stuff.
It's absolutely superb. Again, I'm not going to go on about it too much more, because this is more kind of personal playthrough for me, which I have to do before the next one comes out, that I just want to get over with. Although that's not a very good attitude to go into playing one of the best games ever, but I'm really, really enjoying it. I just don't want to talk everyone's ear off about it when they're all like, yeah, did we know? Anyway, and with that, Lewis, onto the news. Alright, and news item number 1. Nintendo had a direct, Lewis, on the Thursday that this podcast came out, just continuing to dick us over at every possible opportunity. And now there's another one coming out this Thursday, so when this podcast lands, it'll be the Smash character reveal, won't it?
The final Smash character reveal from this Fighters Pass, and I think it's going to be a live stream, so we're going to get live gameplay of the new character, which is really cool. I think all the other ones have been pre-recorded, so...
Oh, this one's going to be live?
Apparently so, yeah.
That's really cool, that's really cool. Anyway, last week's one was all about Pokemon. The big announcement from this was effectively that Pokemon was going to get an expansion for the first time ever, and this is essentially in lieu of having a third game, so your Pokemon Yellows, your Crystals, your Ultra Suns and Ultra Moons and all that, which I think is a really good move. We'll kind of go into that in a second, just to give you a rundown of all the things that are part of the expansion. It will feature 2 new adventures, the first called the Isle of Armor, which will be available in June, and the second is called the Crown Tundra, which will be available in quotes the fall. It'll also include new areas, new Pokemon, including new legendaries, new Galarian forms of the legendary birds, which look fucking cool, new characters, new outfits, new Pokemon dens, new max raid battles. There will also be 200 returning Pokemon, which were, quotes, controversially left out of the initial release of the game. And just as part of the direct as well, Pokemon Home has been announced that it will be coming out in February, which allows you to get Pokemon from previous games into Sword and Shield, so long as those Pokemon appear in Sword and Shield. And there was also a new game announced. There will be a new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game, which is a kind of spin-off of the original series. This is essentially a remake of the originals on Switch. So, yeah.
Loads of Pokemon stuff.
Loads of Pokemon stuff.
Loads of words there that I did not understand. I guess, you're the resident Pokemon expert on PlayersToo.
Oh, that is very, very strong.
I mean, you play it repeatedly all the time.
Well, I played Red and Blue over and over and over again, and Gold occasionally.
So, a couple of quick questions. One, just for my own point of knowledge. 200 new and returning creatures. How much of the absentees is that, roughly speaking?
There was, nearly 900 Pokemon or something like that? I can't even remember how many there were in the game originally. 400, so we're at about 600.
It's getting close though.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I could be totally making up those numbers. That might be plus or minus 100 there, I'd say.
Perfect. And so I guess, the interesting thing about this, as you said, is that it's in lieu of a third game. Kind of 2 quick questions there, really. Do you think that's a good thing? What's your take on that?
Yes, I do, because this means that I can build a team in my game that I've already invested a lot of time in, and then go off and play the DLC in June, and then go off and play the DLC when it comes out in later on in the year, whenever it does eventually drop, without having to, one, buy a whole new game, and then play through it all for what, in reality, is not a huge amount of additional content. Whereas this seems as though it will be more additional content than you would get in one of the third games versus one of the originals. So you would be getting comparatively more content in a game that you've already played with a team that you've already built. So yeah, it's great, and it costs less money as well. I mean,
that's true. Yeah,
it's going to be £26 per game. So if you have Sword, it'll be £26. But if you have Sword and Shield, it'll be quick maths £52 because you need to buy it for
both editions.
For both editions of the game. But even that is probably about the price of 1/3 game, and you get to play the DLC, the Sword version of the DLC, and the Shield version of the DLC, which are slightly different.
Yeah. So just to clarify, though, so both DLCs are coming to both games, but they just have slight variations. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So
it's not one for one and one for the other.
No. Both games, both Sword and Shield, will get both of these parts of the DLC involved in the expansion pass, but they will be slightly different variations. As Sword and Shield are slightly different variations of the same game. Yeah. These are slightly different variations of the same expansion pass, basically.
Okay. And finally, retention is what I think is the interesting thing here. Because
this is for the hardcore, man.
Do you think so? Will you go back to it by then? You'll probably be done playing Sword and Shield by then, right?
I've dropped off it entirely, basically because there was a whole bunch of stuff at the end of the year, starting with the Outer Worlds, then Jedi Fallen Order, then Death Stranding that I wanted to get through at the end of the year, which took up all my time, and I basically haven't played Pokemon at all for months, but I am desperate to go back to it.
Yeah.
It's slightly strange where sometimes I feel as if I put down a game and I feel as if it's a bit of a chore to go back to. Like Pokemon's not like that. It's just so easy. I just know what I'm doing. It's all good, and there's no learning curve. It's just very easy to fall back into.
So the idea then of returning 4 months later, February, March,
the chances are I might be finishing the game, thinking about the release window, I might not be finishing the game that much before the first DLC drops. So yeah, I reckon I probably would go back, to be honest with you, at least for the first part. You know what I mean? And I would pay the £20 to do that alone, probably. I probably will. I'll probably go back for at least the first part. Also, there's a deal that was highlighted by Eurogamer, which we actually tweeted about, but we'll put it in the show notes over at PlayersToo.com as well, where you can get the DLC for like £21 something rather than £26. So it's like a £5 off, essentially.
Nice.
I think it's at Shop 2 or something. I can't really remember, but we'll put a link in there. And if you're planning on buying the DLC pack, then go and get involved with that. All right, news item number 2. PlayStation will not be at E3 for the second year in a row, Lewis.
Uh-oh.
Oh, dear. Yep, so PlayStation made this statement to gamesindustry.biz.
After thorough evaluation, SIE has decided not to participate in E3 2020. We have great respect for the ESA as an organisation, but we do not feel the vision of E3 2020 is the right venue for what we are focused on this year. We will build upon our global event strategy in 2020 by participating in hundreds of consumer events across the globe. Our focus is on making sure fans feel part of the PlayStation family and have access to play their favourite content. We have a fantastic lineup of titles coming to PS4 with the upcoming launch of PS5. We are truly looking forward to a year of celebration with our fans.
Yeah, going to hundreds of consumer events, just not the big main one. Interesting there. Subsequently, ESA have responded with this statement.
E3 is a signature event celebrating the video game industry and showcasing the people, brands and innovations redefining entertainment loved by billions of people around the world. E3 2020 will be an exciting, high-energy show featuring new experiences, partners, exhibitor spaces, activations and programming that will entertain new and veteran attendees alike. Exhibitor interest in our new activations is gaining the attention of brands that view E3 as a key opportunity to connect with video game fans worldwide.
You know, it said activations there, and I literally couldn't stop my head from rolling.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
Having to say that stuff is quite hard.
It's amazing how you can put so many words together and not say anything, isn't it? It's quite remarkable that you can still come to a zero-sum game after all that. Anyway, not missing a beat at all, Phil Spencer of Xbox has tweeted this just immediately after all this kind of kicked off.
Our team is hard at work on E3. We look forward to sharing with all who love to play what's ahead for us. Our art firm has consistently been propelled by the cross-section of creativity and technical progress. 2020 is a milestone year in that journey for Team Xbox.
You can see that blood in the water.
Yeah, no one was asking him though.
No one was, but do you know what? See, I really wish PlayStation had someone like Phil Spencer. Yeah. I really, really do. I think he's just great for that brand, and he's quite likeable as well. He's just great. He's just fantastic. Anyway, thoughts on this? I am personally completely unsurprised.
Yeah, I'm not massively surprised either. I'm in two minds, basically. I think it's probably a sign that Sony are confident in the PS5. They obviously feel like they can capture the news agenda, do their own thing, and still,
Well, they're ensuring that they're going to capture the news agenda.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, basically.
If they were super confident, then they could go to E3 and
When
blow the doors off, you know?
But given that like the launch of the PS4 at E3, whatever it was, like 6 years ago, that was such a huge moment in defining the early stage of this generation, arguably the whole generation to a certain extent. And so to step away from it this year says something big about what they think they've got lying ahead. On the other side, you're obviously conceding everything to Xbox, who have to compete with all the game announcements. But it will, whatever Xbox says about
it's going to
the Xbox Series X is,
100%,
it is the
100%.
biggest news from E3. So it's a complicated one. My biggest question is, are Sony going to go after E3 or before it?
Before. I think before. I mean, there's been rumblings about February for a long time. And Xbox have technically already went. They've already announced their console. I think
So have PlayStation to an extent. Like, we know what
No,
it is and
but
stuff,
we've not like seen it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Whereas Xbox have done that. I don't know that maybe if sometime in February we get a state of play that is, and one more thing, here's the PS5 or
like
something.
like the look of it kind of
Yes,
thing.
like the look of it, like what maybe after Xbox have had their go at E3, then PlayStation come out and go, actually, we are 100 times better because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah,
or I don't know,
£100 cheaper.
Yeah, exactly, £100 cheaper, exactly. Or if PlayStation go first and say Xbox, right, what you got?
Yeah,
you
lay down the gauntlet. That's the most interesting thing to me, is just like, what order do they go in, and what does that then allow the opposite one to do? So we'll see. I guess by the time E3 comes around, we'll basically know everything, more or less, hopefully.
I think so. I think we will have at least seen the PS5 by then.
Yeah.
At least seen it by that
Pretty
point.
confident of that, yeah.
All right, news item number 3. And speaking of Xbox and their Series X, it will not release with first-party exclusive games for 2 years? ? That is a bizarre statement, but it does seem to be true. Talking to MCV, Xbox Games Studio head Matt Booty, best name in video games, this statement.
As our content comes out over the next year, 2 years, all of our games, sort of like PC, will play up and down that family of devices. We want to make sure that if someone invests in Xbox between now and Series X, that they feel they made a good investment and that we're committed to them with content. Our approach is to pick 1 or 2 IP that we're going to focus on and make sure that they are there at launch of the console, taking advantage of all the features. And for us, that's going to be Halo Infinite, which is a big opportunity. It's the first time in over 15 years that we'll have a Halo title launching in sync with a new console, and that team is definitely going to be doing things that take advantage of the Series X.
I mean, that to me is a very interesting statement, because this means that Halo Infinite, although they're saying we'll take advantage of everything that the new system is going to provide, will also be available on Xbox One and PC, and presumably so will Hellblade 2 when it comes out. But I don't understand how Halo Infinite can take advantage of this new system that Xbox are bringing out and saying is the greatest thing in the world. If it's so great, then why can it still play on the Xbox One? Is kind of what I'm thinking. I'm hoping that when I buy the new console, like, I'm going to be like, oh man, this is 100 times better than the PS4. I know we're getting to a bit more of an iterative state, but I'm still hoping to see, the PlayStation 4 couldn't have done this. Like, similarly, I would have thought an Xbox fan would have wanted to be like, oh yeah, I've invested a huge amount of money in this new console. Fucking let's see what it can do. Whereas you're going to be presented with games that you're like, oh well, actually I could just fire up the old Xbox One and have the same experience? Maybe?
Close to it, yeah, potentially. That's the interesting thing there. If it's just a graphical change, then you can see how they can play across all systems. But that's not all we want.
No, it has to be a bit more than that, surely, right? I mean, I know that PlayStation have already sort of leaked out their information about haptic controllers and things like that. And I'm hoping that that's not all that PlayStation 5 has got to offer over the PlayStation 4, apart from more power, apart from faster loading speeds. Like, I hope that there is something more like, the PlayStation 4 couldn't have done that, you know? Whether that's something as, well, I say simple, but ray tracing, it's just like, I can see how beautiful this is because of the ray tracing technology that's now in the PlayStation 5. I know that's coming to Xbox as well, but if they have developed Halo Infinite to take advantage of ray tracing technology and they're trying to run that on the Xbox One, what kind of experience are you getting on the Xbox One is my question, because the only game that's done a similar thing to my knowledge is Control, which ran exceptionally well on PC if you had the technology and you had the graphics cards to be able to generate ray tracing beams of light and just looking gorgeous and beautiful. And you can see people putting together like short videos of it on PC and whatever, and it does look absolutely stunning. The consoles were just such a drop from that, you know?
A total drop,
a massive drop, to the point that there was quite significant technical issues. So I'm thinking now, are we just pushing these consoles too hard, this old technology just too much, that it just can't handle it now? Which is great, because that means that we are in fact ready for a new generation of consoles, because we've kind of passed this. This is now sort of holding us back. But if you're saying, well, yeah, we are going to launch a new console, but all our games are still going to work on this old device. I mean, are you not kind of hamstringing yourself there?
You would have thought so, yeah. It's a massive dragnet, isn't it, on all your new releases? Because if they are adamant, and Phil Spencer, I think, said the same thing about Hellblade, that it will take advantage of all the new opportunities that Series X can offer them. But how can it? Because it's also got to play on the Xbox One S. You know?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
It's got to go as far down as that. And as far
down
up
the family.
As,
That's what he said.
And if we then also get a lesser version of the Series X, so say a Series S for talking sake, how does that relate to the One X? How much better than the One X is that?
Is the Series S better than the One X? Oh my God, I hate
it. Well, there you go.
Right, okay, how much would a Series S be? Sorry, how much better would a Series S be than the current Xbox One X?
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
And that's
because they're talking about the Series X as if it's an absolute beast, you know? Obviously, it remains to be seen. I know Jason Schreier of Kotaku has said that PlayStation will definitely have exclusives at launch and beyond. So PlayStation very much sticking to the formula there, I suppose, whereas Xbox are breaking the mold all over the place. Another thing that I was reading as well, rumours again, but that the Xbox Series X would have a Windows mode, which would effectively just run Windows 10, I assume.
Yeah.
And subsequently, that would then allow it to have a Steam launcher or an Epic Games launcher or any sort of PC games that you wanted as well on your system. Now, I think that's a much cooler thing that you should be shouting about if that is true.
Yeah.
I think that would be awesome. But I'm really not sure about this lack of exclusives. Like, I understand that this is all very bold and very new strategy that Xbox are taking here, but for someone who's almost definitely going to buy a PS5, right, what incentives are you giving me to change to go over to Xbox and for you to say to me, oh no, actually, you shouldn't play on the PS5, you should come over here and play on the Xbox One? What are you offering me to do that? I mean, they have great services, like, there's no denying that. Xbox Games Pass, we've said it over and over and over again, best deal in gaming, without a shadow of a doubt. But to change console allegiances, to leave The Last of Us behind and God of War and Spider-Man, I just don't think that there's enough there. No. I just don't.
There definitely isn't in terms of IP, and it does beg the question, if I can go and buy a cheap One X that will still play Series X games, but just at a lower fidelity or whatever, a lot of people, I think, will take that option. If you just want to get Game Pass and you want to try, like, some of these new games.
Yeah, see, if I can get Games Pass relatively cheap on an old Xbox One, and it's still going to play any first-party game that Xbox put out for the next 2 years, then why am I buying an Xbox One X? Series X, excuse me. God, the names. Right, we need to move on from this because I'm getting confuddled by the names. All right, news item number 4. The UK's biggest gaming retailer, Game, is closing at least 40 stores across the country. The company currently has 259 game stores and 21 Belong esports arenas in the UK. 27 stores have been served notice, including one here in Glasgow, sadly, is one of the first ones to fall, unfortunately. This is all part of Game's store rationalisation programme. I mean, that is twat-level corporate speak, that is absolutely horrific. According to CBRE, who, as far as I can work out, are an American real estate company, Game's current stores have an average unexpired lease term of less than 0.8 years, which, according to them, makes this a significant opportunity to restructure their current portfolio. Where do they dig up these people?
Well, it's just a very businessy way of saying we're going to close stores and sack people, essentially.
Well, yes, it is. Sports Direct, who now own 84% of Game, are trying to relocate as many staff as possible, which is admirable, I suppose, given the circumstances. But layoffs are, of course, inevitable. And it has also been suggested that the Game/Belong arenas could, in fact, be moved within Sports Direct stores as is. So, yeah, it's not a good situation. It's really bad. I mean, it is the GameStop of the UK, you know what I mean, which is having an equally bad time across the pond.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Unfortunately, this is the result of digital downloads, basically.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what's killing it here. But I use Game a lot. I use Game to trade in old games. I used it to buy Death Stranding not that long ago. Yeah. Sad news. All right, and news item number 5. Square Enix have announced, but hours ago, Lewis, that Final Fantasy VII Remake and Marvel's Avengers have been delayed. Final Fantasy VII Remake has been delayed from March the 3rd to April the 10th, so not a massive delay there. We can probably live with that. But the Avengers has been delayed from May the 15th to September the 4th, which is a much more significant delay. The Final Fantasy VII Remake team have made this statement.
We know that so many of you are looking forward to the release of Final Fantasy VII Remake and have been waiting patiently to experience what we've been working on. In order to ensure we deliver a game that is in line with our vision and the quality that our fans who have been waiting for deserve, we have decided to move the release date to April 10th, 2020. We're making this tough decision in order to give ourselves a few extra weeks to apply final polish to the game and to deliver you with the best possible experience. I, on behalf of the whole team, want to apologise to everyone, as I know this means waiting for the game just a little bit longer. Thank you for your patience and continued support. That statement by producer Yoshinori Kitase.
And then subsequently, Crystal Dynamics have also made this statement about the Avengers game.
At Crystal Dynamics, our ambition has always been to deliver the ultimate Avengers gaming experience. In order to achieve that goal, we've made the difficult decision to move the release date of Marvel's Avengers to September 4th, 2020. As fans ourselves, it's an honour and a privilege to work with these legendary characters, and we know what these superheroes mean to us and true believers around the world. When we set out to bring you our vision for Marvel's Avengers, we committed to delivering an original story-driven campaign, engaging co-op and compelling content for years to come. To that end, we will spend this additional development time focusing on fine-tuning and polishing the game to the high standards our fans expect and deserve. The worldwide teams working on Marvel's Avengers sincerely appreciate the support you've shown us. We thrive on your enthusiasm and feedback, and we can't wait to show you more. We apologise for the delay. We're confident it will be worth the wait.
So, this now moves Final Fantasy VII perilously close to the Cyberpunk release date, in fact 6 days away, and it also moves Avengers perilously close to the new console launches, which must be about September, October time as well.
So yeah.
I'm not sure if that was initially supposed to be a cross-gen title, probably not at launch, probably still isn't going to be at launch, but it's going to be very, very close to when people are not thinking about playing last-gen games, unless you're on Xbox, of course. Oh, slide dig there, slide dig. I'm allowed one. So, yeah, thoughts?
I think we can brush aside the Final Fantasy VII delay.
Me too, I'm not that bad. I don't
minuscule.
feel that bad about it. It's not great. It puts in a bad window. Yes, you're up against Cyberpunk. It's a big deal. Let's not diminish that. But ultimately, I think the game itself is going to be fine.
Yeah, that's if Cyberpunk doesn't move as well. This is the era of delays. We always get delays at this point in the year.
That's true. And to be honest with you, if Cyberpunk also got pushed a month, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me very much at all, considering what the scope of that game is. You know what I mean?
The one thing about it, though, is that we did have that story a few weeks ago that Square Enix were starting to take payments for the Super Deluxe Edition, whatever it was.
That is very true.
Just right before Christmas, and we were talking about that as being not on, and now they've delayed that game. Now, it's not much, but it's still a bit of a kick in the teeth for those diehard fans who've already put the money up front, you know?
Yeah, I'd never even realised that. That's a fantastic point, yeah. That is a real kick in the teeth. But I think the significant news here really is the Marvel's Avengers.
Definitely.
It was shown off at E3 last year. The reception was less than hot, apart from the fact that everyone looked as if they were cosplaying their characters from the end game. I wonder if this is reactionary to the negative response in any way, particularly the length of the delay. Maybe they're thinking, oh shit, we really need to do something about this. We really need to make this game feel and look better. They've already come out and publicly said that they're not changing the character models, so they're obviously not doing that, but I think if the game plays as you would expect a game of this caliber to play, I mean, Marvel's Avengers, come on, I mean, there's no bigger property in the world.
Yeah.
This has to kick ass, and I'm not really sure that it was doing that.
No.
So I wonder if it is a wee bit, right, after this point, we cannot make any changes. Let's go back to the drawing board, decide what we're finally wanting to do. Let's make this as good as it possibly can be. Let's push it 4 months, and that's just going to have to be what it is.
Yeah, let's hope that that's enough. I mean, it definitely felt like that game needed work.
Yeah, from anyone that played it that I listened to or read about, it was basically fine.
Yeah.
What I'll say is it was fine. It was a bit underwhelming. It wasn't what you would hope a Marvel's Avenger game was.
Yeah.
Hopefully they pull it out of the bag. I have faith in Crystal Dynamics. They're a good studio. But yeah, they might have to do something a bit special with that one. Alright, finishing off on a couple of shout-outs. Assassin's Creed quotes Ragnarok has leaked, apparently. So the leak was on 4chan, which should be taken with a massive grain of salt, and then reposted on Reddit, which again should be taken with a massive, massive grain of salt. We'll post links to the Reddit post of this on PlayersToo.com. Yeah, so the main highlights here is it will be called Ragnarok. It's going to be cross-gen. It will be announced in February at an upcoming PlayStation event, a yet-to-be announced PlayStation event, apparently. Now, this could be a lot of people stabbing in the dark here, do you know what I mean? And there's been a lot of chat around the fact that the PS5 could be announced in February, so don't take that as someone with insider knowledge, do you know what I mean? Like, all of this could very well be bullshit. It will release on September the 29th. Again, it's a good window if it's going to be cross-gen, and that's probably going to be around about the time that the new consoles are going to launch. It will have 4-player drop-in, drop-out co-op, which is a system that was already on Ghost Recon. You'll play as a single character called Jorah, who you can choose to be either male or female, which is interesting. I mean, if that turns out to be true, then I think that is probably one of the more telling things that this person knew what they were talking about. Sailing will be back. It will be less focused on combat though, and will be more focused on exploration, which I think is probably a good thing. It felt as if the naval battles were getting a bit much, kind of in some of the latter games, and I think the exploration part of the sailing in Black Flag was one of the best bits about that game. Yeah. The Hidden Blade is returned and is much more customizable. Apparently the map is huge, like huge, and will include most of Northern Europe, it seems. Some of the cities that were mentioned in the leak were York, London, Paris and Kiev, and that is quite a distance between those places. And apparently you'll be fighting mythical beasts.
It sounds like more Assassin's Creed to me. I mean, there's a lot there, as you said, that
there is, and that's only the highlights. Yeah, I mean, there was a huge post on Reddit about this, and again, we will link to it. But all of this, again, as you said, is pure speculation. Yeah. Pure speculation. It's someone who is alleging to have inside sources. So we'll see. Shout out number 2: WB Montreal has again teased a new Batman game on Twitter. So they tweeted out Capture the Night with a picture of like half a sigil, and then they tweeted out Capture the Night again, night with a K by the way, and then the other half of the sigil. Subsequently, clever people on the internet have put this together to make the full sigil, which looks very much like the Court of Owls sign, apparently, from the comics. Not that I know anything about this, about the comics.
You're doing a good impression of someone that does.
Thank you, man. That is half what this podcast is. But then after that, Scott Snyder, who wrote the Court of Owls, tweeted, "Wait for it, .. hashtag beware the Court of Owls," and then that tweet has now been deleted. And I'm just like, guys, right, there's building hype and there's teasing and stuff like that, and we're all like, just tell us that the game exists and when it's coming out.
I think this is a massive botch, because if this game isn't,
it was going so well,
this isn't incredible,
they like took it one step too far.
They're winding up the fans, and if it's not amazing, they will pay for it with
so as
online trolls.
As the resident Batman expert, right? And if I'm the Pokemon expert, then you're the Batman
I'm
expert.
very glad to be that one of the two.
No, man, I'm well happy with my Pokemon expertise that I definitely do not have. But no, so this is WB Montreal were the people who made Origins. They weren't the people who made the original 3 in the trilogy. That was Rocksteady, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Again, correct me if I'm wrong here. So Origins didn't land great.
Yeah, so Origins came out between City and Arkham Knight, and as you said, made by WB Montreal, reviewed not especially well at the time. It's the only one of that franchise that I haven't played, actually. But I think a lot of fans and gamers have since kind of reappraised it, and it's
gonna come around on it.
I think it's deemed to be one of the better stories of the franchise, but like just wasn't.
Oh, that's interesting.
I think the biggest criticism at launch was that it was just like not significantly different from the previous 2 games, which were great games. So it's it's weird that it was not totally loved, but that's what my issue is with this, is that WB Montreal are really building it up to get people excited, and the Court of Owls, that whole sort of saga within the comics for fans, I think is a really big deal.
Yeah, I think as far as the modern comics go, that is like,
it's one of the pinnacle pieces.
Absolutely,
yeah, 100%. And so they have to get that right, and if they tease like this and then they deliver it like a mediocre game, it'll fall very flat.
Well, let's hope it doesn't, Lewis. Alright, shout out number 3. completely out of the blue, GTA 4 is now not available on Steam. Due to some sort of previous system, they now can't generate keys that are required to sell the game. I mean, that's some batshit stuff, that, isn't it?
Pretty strange.
Yeah. Rockstar made this statement.
Grand Theft Auto 4 was originally created for the Games for Windows Live platform. With Microsoft no longer supporting Games for Windows Live, it is no longer possible to generate the additional keys needed to continue selling the current version of the game. We're looking at other options for distributing GTA 4 for PC, and we'll share more information as soon as we can.
That just seems so dumb. Like, why hasn't this affected anyone else that was using that system?
I think it did, and they all addressed it ages ago.
Right, okay, so it is completely incompetence on Rockstar's part.
Given that they
absolutely insane.
now
Apparently this shut down and originally shut down in 2013.
Yeah.
So they've had a long time to think about this.
Absolutely. They've been too focused on GTA 5, I guess.
Oh,
but
fuck
that's
off.
the
I mean, it's not, like, come on.
They have
this
their
cannot
own...
have been a massive
No,
problem
it
to
can't
deal
be.
with, particularly if other games have done it.
Yeah, they now have their own launcher, and they haven't bothered fixing it for that, so...
Oh, it's just dumb. It's so dumb. Alright, shout out number 4. Monster Hunter World Iceborne came out on PC last week. However, it has been deleting people's saved files, which is not good, considering how many hours is required to pour into that game to even do like one significant run, never mind how many additional hours people pour into that game. So that's a bad one. Just be careful. Apparently it has something to do with the patches that were installed prior to installing Iceborne, and you could be prompted with would you like to create a new save file window? And I think some people had like basically casually been clicking through and just went, yes, whatever, next thing, let's get on with this. And then I've generated a new save file and had to start the game again. And if you can't recover your save, then that's a lot of hours lost.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
a lot of
So
people.
just a bit of a PSA, if you're looking to play Monster Hunter World Iceborne on the PC, just be wary of that. I don't know if Capcom have put out a fix yet, but I'm sure that'll be coming very soon if they haven't. Alright, shout out number 5, ending on a couple of good notes, Liz, Infinity Ward are donating 100% of the net proceeds of the Outback Pack DLC to the Australian wildfire crisis. This is through to the 31st of January. The DLC has actually been renamed the Outback Relief Pack. It's very difficult to say. It's very, very difficult to say. And if you have purchased it before this announcement, then your game's still counted towards the contribution to the charity. So they're backdating it effectively, which is great, which is really good. Obviously, the situation in Australia is exceptionally bad, very, very bad. Yeah, if anyone from Australia is listening, fucking hell, my heart goes out to you. I have no idea what you would do in that situation. I really don't.
I hope other game companies get involved in doing this kind of thing. There's been quite a lot in like the worlds of sport and elsewhere, a lot of statements about it at like awards ceremonies and films. So,
absolutely. Like if you can give anything to help those people, like Christ almighty, do it, because it's bad news over there. Alright, and shout out number 6. More good things coming out of the worlds of gaming list. Awesome Games Done Quick, which is the speedrunning marathon event that I absolutely love. Like the speedrunning community is one of the best communities in video games, and I'm not even part of it. I have no interest in speedrunning apart from watching how cool it looks. But they have raised over a week 3.1 million for the Prevent Cancer Foundation. So I mean, that's just a ridiculous number. It's a ridiculous number to be given to charity. Amazing, and apparently some of the runs this year were absolutely immense as well. There was one of the Celeste Farewell DLC that I'm real keen to watch, considering it's basically broke me. And someone's going to go through it in like 10 minutes and it'll be totally fine. Anyway, Liz, I think they deserve a clap out. And now time for a beer. And we are back with Topic of the Week. Topic of the Week this week is the DICE Award nominations list. Now, this is not to be confused with the GDC Award nominations, which were also announced this week. And it is also not to be confused with the EA Studio, which we spoke about at length last week. Now, the reason that the DICE Awards are interesting, and why the GDC Awards are interesting, as a matter of fact, is because that they are voted on by professionals in the industry. Now, the Game Awards, the big show, Jeff Keighley's big show, is voted on by your IGNs, your Game Informers, your Giant Bombs, that sort of folk.
Yeah, press and influencers kind of
Press and influencers, absolutely correct. And this is voted on by people in the industry, people whose actual job it is to create and make video games. So that is why these awards are interesting. The DICE Awards are put on by the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences, which is a big academy for everyone who works in video games, essentially. And you can apply to be a member, and so far as I'm aware, there are over 30,000 members that can vote on this. The nominations were selected by a kind of smaller panel of 100 or so very high profile members of the Academy. So it was people who work for, say, Activision and Bungie and people like that, like big developers and people that work in the industry. So I think that these are really interesting to contrast with the Game Awards. And me and Lewis are going to play our little game where we try and predict what's going to win and bet on it, I've decided as well.
Another one?
In this particular moment. Yeah, so what I've decided that we're going to do is that if you win, then...
I'm freed.
Yeah, it's null and void and you're free, right? If I win, I just make it worse for you.
Okay.
Well, with Lewis's enthusiasm through the roof, let's get started. Okay, so we'll run through the first few of these like quite quickly so that we can get onto like the proper action game of the year and stuff like that. So the first nomination is for Outstanding Achievement in Animation.
So the nominees are Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Days Gone, Death Stranding, Devil May Cry 5 and Luigi's Mansion 3.
I cannot believe Luigi's Mansion 3 is on there. Not knowing a huge amount about what makes animation amazing, this is kind of difficult to do, I suppose, but Death Stranding, surely. Yeah. I can also see why Devil May Cry might be a pick for a lot of people here, just because of how crazy that animation is more than anything. But Death Stranding, I feel pretty confident about that.
I would say the same. There's so much going on in Death Stranding. There's so much individual animations on characters. The cutscenes are incredibly done, even if they're often pointless and long. Yeah, I can imagine like Call of Duty will also have a lot going on screen, a lot of different character animations happening all at once, but it's kind of all been done before. Days Gone had those crazy hordes, which I think deserves a thumbs up. But I would say, it's surely got to be, well, for me at least, it's Death Stranding.
Next up, Outstanding Achievement in Art Direction.
So the nominees are, again, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Concrete Genie, Control, Death Stranding, and Resident Evil 2.
In Art Direction, I can see it being Control here.
Yeah.
Now, I think that I didn't pick Control at the Game Awards.
You didn't.
And lost. So I'm going to pick Control this time. For me, again, it's probably be between Control and Death Stranding, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go Control.
I'm also going Control. I did pick Control for the Game Awards. I can see that there might be more contention in this category, given that it's industry people and who might be more impressed by certain elements of what Death Stranding does with like its landscape and all that kind of thing. Also how Resident Evil 2 builds on the original. But Control is just, to me again, is just all art. It's like more art than game in places. Yeah, so I think it deserves that area.
Next up was Outstanding Achievement in Character. Now, we don't have wee blurbs this time like the Game Awards give these out. So there's a couple of these that I'm like, well, what are the parameters of this?
Yep.
But nonetheless, the nominations are
Jesse Faden in Control, Cliff Unger in Death Stranding, Sam Porter Bridges also in Death Stranding, Grease in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and the Goose from Untitled Goose Game.
That is shocking to me that Grease...
Yeah, I don't know him. I haven't played it yet, so...
Well, he's just not the best character in that game, to be completely honest with you. And the Goose are there, which I'm sure is the best character in that game, but I'm not sure that they've done much for the development of the Goose's character, is more what I'm questioning there. Or has it? Is it a big redemption arc? Is that
no, there's none of that going on, but the Goose has a lot of character.
Okay, for me, the best character there is Cliff Unger from Death Stranding, who's Mads Mikkelsen's character, so I will pick Cliff.
Yeah, so because this isn't specifically about performance, it makes it harder. My gut and heart wants to say the Goose. I suspect Cliff Unger is going to win it, but I might lose this stupid bet over this one category. But
I just say I put you in as the Goose before you even finished
the Goose.
Next up, Outstanding Achievement in Original Music Composition.
Nominees are Arise, A Simple Story, Control, Erica, Gollum, and Mortal Kombat 11.
Well, I've actually not played 3 out of the 5 of them. And the only piece of original musical composition that sticks out from Mortal Kombat and Control is that amazing moment in Control in the Ashtray Maze.
I don't know if that's original though. That might be a pre-existing song, actually.
Well, I don't think it's a pre-existing song because of the lyrics of the song, and 2, it's to do with the musical composition of it, and I don't know, I'm taking that within the context of the gameplay as well. I don't know, I'm going Control.
Yeah, I'm going to go Control as well, but only because none of them stand out, and like you say, we haven't played 3 of them, so I'll go with that.
Next up, Outstanding Achievement in Audio Design. I do understand this one.
Nominees are Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Death Stranding, Mortal Kombat 11, Resident Evil 2, and Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Outstanding Achievement in Audio Design, always go for the shooters. It will be Call of Duty for me.
Yeah. You convinced me on that on the Game Awards, so I'm again going to match you here and go for Call of Duty.
You absolute shite, man. Right. Outstanding achievement and story list.
Here we go. Nominees are Control, Disco Elysium, Outer Wilds, Telling Lies, and The Outer Worlds.
Now we're getting interesting.
Yes,
now we're getting
certainly
interesting.
are.
Man. It's got to be Disco. It's got to be Disco for me.
This is a game that you have yet to play and yet have awarded every single award going to.
It just seems like I know a lot about it though.
Yeah.
Like I've researched quite a lot about it. Despite the fact that I've not played it, I can make an educated guess on this.
To me, that this is between two games, and those are Disco Elysium and Outer Wilds. I think that the industry will...
In story.
Yeah, in story. I think it's
Okay.
between those two.
I've not played it. I will...
Well, like Outer Wilds is only story, really. It's exploration to uncover the story of what's going on. But I do think that Disco Elysium will probably take it because it's more obviously a story, if you know what I mean.
Well, this is getting really exciting when we choose all the same stuff.
We'll
all the way down.
diverge. We'll get there.
There is big stakes here for Luce. Outstanding technical achievement.
Nominees are Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Concrete Genie, Control, Death Stranding, and Metro Exodus.
Again, I really think that this is probably between Control and Death Stranding. Control for the ray tracing stuff, and Death Stranding for just the madness that ensues in that game. No, you know what I mean. It's just like the traversal and what have you. Control.
He's done it. We've got a divergence because I think that the industry will see how technically accomplished Death Stranding is. You're totally right. Control's all about ray tracing, but that's not how we experienced it. I don't think it's a technical achievement from what I've seen.
Maybe not in the version that we played. It is a technical achievement, whether we saw it or not.
Accept that. But for that reason and other reasons, I'm picking Death Stranding.
Fair enough. Okay, next up, Action Game of the Year.
Nominees are Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Control, Devil May Cry 5, Gears 5, and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
Sekiro, gotta be.
You think so? Yeah, as simple as that?
Yep, simple as that, mate.
Yeah, I think so too, to be totally honest.
Man, this is going to be tight. This is going to come down to like a very few categories here, I think. Next up, Adventure Game of the Year.
Nominees are Death Stranding, Luigi's Mansion 3, Resident Evil 2, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening.
It's got to be Death Stranding there, surely.
You think so?
Yeah. I know that you want to desperately give it to Link's Awakening, but...
No, I actually don't. I am going to give that one to Resident Evil 2, actually.
Adventure game?
I don't know how it fits into these categories, but for where it's been put, I haven't played Star Wars. A lot of people are talking about that as being up there, but I know it's got some issues. I think Resident Evil 2 is just such an accomplished game in terms of...
Star Wars is great in a lot of ways, but not as good as RE2, not as good as Death Stranding, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Next up, Family Game of the Year.
Nominees are A Short Hike, Dragon Quest Builders 2, Ring Fit Adventure, Super Mario Maker 2, and Yoshi's Crafted World.
How in God's name is Luigi's Mansion on this?
It's a bizarre list, that one,
absolutely
isn't it?
insane.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest Builders.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm close to abstaining on this one. I don't actually
Feel free.
know what A Short Hike is.
I've heard of A Short Hike, but I don't know much about it. No.
So I think I'm probably also going to go Dragon Quest Builders 2. But like, what is there to pick between those two things? Like most of those games, like Super Mario Maker 2, we've already discussed, is not even really being a family game.
No,
Yoshi's Crafted World didn't make a dent.
No,
I'm interested in Ring Fit Adventure.
I actually think Ring Fit Adventure is genius in a lot of ways, but I wouldn't describe it as a family game.
No, not necessarily. And I just don't think like the industry at large is going to come out in favour of it. You know,
perhaps not. Next up, Fighting Game of the Year.
Nominees are Dead or Alive 6, Jump Force, Mortal Kombat 11, and Samurai Showdown.
Okay, there is one option here, and it is Mortal Kombat 11.
Mortal Kombat 11.
Samurai Showdown is a bit of a dark horse. Dead or Alive 6, again, as you said about the last category, kind of failed to make a dent, and Jump Force is an actively bad game. So it will be Mortal Kombat 11.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Racing Game of the Year.
Nominees are Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, Dirt Rally 2.0, F1 2019, Mario Kart 2, and Trials Rising.
See, now this is where it becomes sort of interesting about who's voting on this. Because if it were your IGNs and your Game Informers and your Giant Bombs, Crash hands down.
Yeah.
However, this is more technically minded people that we're talking about now. I think that I'm still going to go for Crash, but I actually think that things like Trials Rising and Dirt could actually probably take this.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Crash though. I've said it. I'm going to go Crash.
Yeah, it's a tough category. I don't know a lot about a lot of these games, but I think you're right about Trials Rising and about Dirt. I'm going to go Dirt just as a blind pick. I'm calling it there. I don't know anything much about it. It's not a game I've played, but
wow.
And Crash, I think, deserves to win. But I think you're right about who's nominating, who's voting. It might come down to that.
You can get too much inside your own
head. I know,
yeah. Man. All right, role-playing game of the year.
Nominees are Disco Elysium, Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers, Kingdom Hearts 3, Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, and The Outer Worlds.
My heart wants to say There Are Worlds.
Really? Oh, yeah.
But my brain is not going to say that. For me, this is between Disco Elysium and Shadowbringers. Oy. I think I need to stick with Disco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be Disco, doesn't it? It can't.
No, Shadowbringers was supposed to be absolutely outstanding.
It's
really, really very good.
Definitely beloved, but I just think
and again, it's the thing is that it's the sort of people that are voting on this that would know how good Shadowbringers is.
Totally, but I think that we probably wouldn't know anything about Disco Elysium if both the industry and the kind of press corps hadn't just gone mad up for it at the end of 2019. So I think it'll scoop that. But if it's a close run thing, definitely that one.
Kingdom Hearts 3 and Pokemon not even getting a look in there. All right, sports game of the year.
Nominees are FIFA 20, Madden NFL 20, MLB The Show 19, NBA 2K20 and NHL 20.
I've just realised I put myself at a disadvantage of going first all the time here, but seeing as how the stakes are higher for you, I will continue it. I'm going for NBA 2K20.
Oh, really? Well, again, not a category that we have any experience in by and large. I think I'm going to go for MLB The Show 19 simply because...
Wow, that is very bold.
Yeah, well, it's a game that people talk about in terms of its story and stuff being important as well. Like FIFA, NHL, Madden, I suspect NBA 2K20, they're all just iterating on the same thing every year, and half of them were kind of broke this year. Like FIFA 20 was fully broken.
Well, this is the thing, is that I think Madden was a bit broke as well. I don't know how broke NBA 2K20 was, but the main problem with that was the microtransactions, shockingly. But I think it was otherwise a good game. Yeah. That's why I went for that.
Fair enough.
Anyway, next up, strategy/simulation game of the year.
An odd one. Nominees are Anno 1800, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Oxygen Not Included, Slay the Spire, and Total War 3 Kingdoms.
I might shock you here. I'm going for Slay the Spire.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That does seem to be the kind of the industry darling a bit. There's so many people within the industry talking about it.
As well, I've actually watched it on Twitch. Mm-hmm. It looks great.
Yeah.
It looks like something I would really enjoy. I've just never played it.
Nice one. Well, in order to keep this competition alive, I will say Fire Emblem 3 Houses there, but I would not be even remotely stunned if Slay the Spire took that. I'm
totally the same, the other way around. Totally the same. If Fire Emblem took it, it would totally deserve it as well. It was one of my games of last year.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so the next two categories are actually virtual reality categories, and we did a pick for these on the Game Awards predictions when we were doing that, but I feel as though that's a bit disingenuous, to be honest with you. Although we might not have played some of these games that we're choosing, we're well informed about them. Like I said, I know exactly what Slay the Spire is, even though I've not played it, and I know exactly what
the discourse around it.
Yeah, exactly. The discourse around it. Whereas I find for a lot of these virtual reality games is that we could make a kind of semi-educated guess, but we don't really know the discourse around it, and therefore I think it is more appropriate that we leave them out. Would you agree?
I'll agree with that, yeah. Seeing as that's the theme of this so far.
All right, next up is Outstanding Achievement for an Independent Game.
Okay, so nominees are A Short Hike, Disco Elysium, Sayonara Wild Hearts, Untitled Goose Game, and What the Golf.
Again, my heart says What the Golf.
My
heart says What the Golf, but my brain is going to say Disco Elysium.
Yeah. It's hard to look past Disco Elysium just because of how much buzz it created at the end of last year. So,
and how much you shat the bed on it at the Game Awards.
Well, I know, yeah, there's a big part of me that's like, I better just back it this time. I still think the Goose Game deserves some credit, but Disco Elysium is just so much more elaborate than those other games. I think that it's probably got a lot of stuff under the hood that we don't even know that much about, so I would pick for that as well.
It's systems on systems.
Yeah,
on systems,
exactly,
man.
yeah.
All right, portable game of the year.
Notice
it's not mobile game of the year, so that Switch can be included.
Exactly. Nominees are Call of Duty Mobile, Grindstone, Sayonara Wild Hearts, Sky Children of the Light, and What the Golf.
I'm going for it again. I know Call of Duty Mobile will beat it again, and this is exactly the sort of crowd that would vote for that, but I'm going for What the Golf. What the Golf is the best mobile game, and I will not have a bad word said against it.
Yeah, it's an incredible game. I'm going to go Grindstone on this one, simply to diversify a little bit, but I've heard a lot of people talking about that game without me personally paying attention to it, so I'm going to go there.
Bold choice, mate. Bold choice.
Yeah, we'll see.
Online game of the year, Lewis.
Nominees are Apex Legends, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, Tetris 99, and Wargroove.
Again, if there is any justice, this is Apex Legends.
Yeah. Do you think there's justice, Mark?
However. No, fuck it. I'm going for it. Apex.
I think it's got to be. It changed what those games could be at that moment, so I think the industry will surely back that.
I genuinely think Destiny 2 is going to win.
You think so? Yeah. All right.
No, I'm saying Apex though. My answer is Apex. Outstanding achievement in game design, Lewis.
Nominees are Baba Is You, Disco Elysium, Outer Wilds, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and Slay the Spire.
That's strong.
That's a great list, man. That's a great list.
I'm torn. I know where your heart's pulling you. I can tell. Oh, actually, well, it might be split between Baba and Outer Wilds. That is a fantastic list of games. There's no doubt about it. For me, it's between Disco and Sekiro. That really in game design. Disco.
He's going for it. He's putting the house on Disco Elysium again.
It worked out last time.
Yeah, don't fix what's not broke. I'm going to go Outer Wilds on this one. I've said it a million times. Baba Is You is an incredible game. I just don't know if it's like the best designed game of the year necessarily.
Yeah.
It's a straightforward idea that's executed extremely well.
It's almost... Well, it depends on what they mean by design, I suppose, but it's kind of the systems behind it. You know what I mean? Whereas Disco has the systems behind it, but it also has like the amazing visuals as well. Yeah, similarly with Outer Wilds. I think you're in with a good chance of winning that, actually, because I think that this is exactly the sort of crowd that would appreciate Outer Wilds for what it is. Yeah,
I think out of those, it's doing the most interesting things with its design. Not to say that Disco Elysium in particular isn't incredible in its design, but Outer Wilds it plays with what we expect from a game. So that's where I'm putting my vote this time.
Okay, outstanding achievement in game direction.
Nominees are A Short Hike, Control, Disco Elysium, Outer Wilds, and Untitled Goose Game.
Well, if nothing else, what I've learned from this is that I've got to play A Short Hike. Man, oh man. By the way, complete absence of Death Stranding here. I find that very interesting indeed. And direction.
It's hard to know exactly what that even refers to in the grand scope of a game.
Control.
Well, that is the one where I thought we might have some divergence, but I think Control, that's probably where it gets the nod for me. If we're thinking of game direction as like the total package and how all the different parts relate to one another, I think Control's probably up there, but there's some great games on that list, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it go elsewhere. I would rather give it to Outer Wilds, but I'm going to go for Control this time.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Next one. The Game of the Year, Lewis.
Yeah. So nominees for this are Control, Death Stranding, Disco Elysium, Outer Wilds, and Untitled Goose Game.
It is ridiculous that Untitled Goose Game.
Won the goose.
Amazing that Sekiro, that won Game of the Year at the Game Awards, isn't even here as well.
Yeah, trumped by 3 indie games.
Yeah. I think I have to go Death Stranding. I'm going for it.
Yeah, I think I have to as well, which is a real disappointment.
It ended a bit flat there, didn't it?
Again, I think just because of all of its systems, all of the things that it's doing combined, as much as the story goes off course, it's probably the game of the year out of those. It'd be really hard to give it to Untitled Goose Game. It's kind of doesn't really deserve its place there, as fun as it is.
It would be fucking outrageous if that one.
Yeah, and
not that it's a bad game, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I can't, in all consciousness, give it to Control. So it's one of the other 3. I guess our sub picks would be Outer Wilds for me and Disco Elysium for you, right?
Yeah, probably would. Although again, I've not played Outer Wilds, so I feel as if that's...
You've not played Disco Elysium either.
Well, I've not played Disco Elysium, but I know far more about it because I don't want to spoil Outer Wilds for myself, because I know that it's so important that you go through that game by yourself and figuring things out, so I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
which is wise, dear listeners, do that. Avoid it.
There you go. I'm doing the right thing. The Lewis Camley seal of approval there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we will call it a day there. I'd like to remind everyone that you can find PlayersToo on all the social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, the lot. You can also find our written content over at PlayersToo.com. That's PlayerStoo.com. And if you could take 5 seconds to give us 5 stars over on Apple Podcasts, that really, really helps us out. It really does help us out so much. It does a huge amount for the exposure of the show, and it really does only take you 5 seconds, and it would mean so much to us. It really would help us out, and thank you so much again to anyone that's already done that for us. You are an absolute legend to us. Thank you. I'd like to remind everyone that our game for January is Ape Out. I've still not played it yet, but I'm very much looking forward to it. Lewis had just done a post on Instagram before we started recording this about Ape Out, and I was just looking at that image. I was like, yeah, I'm fully game for this.
It just looks so different to a lot of games on the market just now, and I'm really excited to get it.
It really does, and just what it's doing with its music and whatever, I'm fully ready for it. I cannot wait to play it. It'll be quite different to talk about this in comparison to the other games that we've done for play-alongs, so I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm definitely probably going to play it Maybe not this week, maybe, but definitely.
Yeah,
next
I think
week,
I'm going to dive in. Hopefully this weekend, at least start it because it's not too long. So
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's only a couple hours, and again, that was intentional because we kind of announced it a week late
Exactly.
due to the holidays.
But a fresh game for both of us. Good stuff.
A fresh game for both of us. First time we're doing that as well. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we'll catch you next week.
Thanks.